No house will sell itself. It's got to have what buyers want and stand out from the crowd.
What you've done is, I feel, increase this property saleability tenfold.
So I'm giving 3 sellers the chance to get ahead of the competition by checking out each other's houses.
It's a bit plain and boring.
Yeah.
When I look at this, I get so disheartened.
Today, one house is beyond bland.
I'm not wearing a beige dress, so I'd be sort of a floating head on the wall.
And another is chock-a-block.
Get all of this out. I'm assuming you've got space in your garage.
I've actually got a large warehouse at work.
So my sellers have got 1 week and £1,000 to make big improvements.
Crack on then.
In the hope of bagging an offer from my buyer.
Is it, say, proper grown-up house? You know, it's a... What's that wrinkled nose for? Are you ready for a proper grown-up house?
I'm not ready to grow up.
In the commuter town of Redditch near Birmingham, houses typically take 4 months to sell. So my 3 sellers need to make sure their homes are in top shape for a buyer like interior designer Joe. He and his girlfriend Sarah, who's away this week, want to swap their city centre flat for their first home in the suburbs.
What would you say is your dream property in terms of the look of it?
I'd like to say a house with a little bit of character, but something that's not so old it needs so much work. It's not all about just what I want, obviously. It's got to be what Sarah wants as well. I think what really catches our eye most of the time are townhouses, and I'd like a nice kitchen.
You want a nice kitchen?
Yeah, somewhere I can move around in, at least.
As opposed to doing that?
Yeah.
Do you know when you see a property whether it's got potential?
I see it as kind of a stepping stone to really make it look special. I want people to come into my house and go, oh, wow, this is where I want to live.
We've got 3 incredibly individual and very, very different properties to show you. So fingers crossed one of them will be the one.
Fingers crossed.
Joe and Sarah have a budget of up to £190,000 for that 2 to 3 bed home with a bit of wow factor. I've found 3 properties that could all end up being Joe and Sarah's first home. But before he gets to see them, they all need to get viewing ready. My first sellers are admin assistant Jackie and her daughter Sarah, whose home is all shades of bland.
My mum's style is very much like this house is decorated as it is.
Neutral colours. I don't like anything really glary or bright colours.
Or redecorating, it seems, as this house ain't seen a tin of paint in the 8 years Jackie's lived here.
Where do you start?
With a paintbrush.
With a paintbrush, yes. Or a roller. No, a roller's better because that's quicker, isn't it? I might really like it. Might think, oh, I wish I'd have done it before.
Here's hoping. Jackie's bland 3-bed detached might have an open-plan living area, but it lacks character, and the decor is dated throughout, which really lets it down. It's the most expensive of the 3 houses at £190,000. My next competitors are electrical engineer Nick and his partner Angela.
Our style is traditional.
I still prefer the high ceilings and the beautiful
Architrave.
Yeah, around the edges. I don't like NDF, do we?
No.
No, we like solid furniture.
Lots and lots of solid furniture. Upstairs there are 3 bedrooms, well 2 and a railway station.
Reminds me of my childhood and happy days at home with my dad and my mum. And we used to get all the trains out and run them around the living room and in the kitchen.
Still does.
Oh, bless. Angela and Nick's dated chalet bungalow has a welcoming hallway, but some rooms are dwarfed by dark furniture. And the 3rd bedroom is hidden behind an office. It's on the market for just short of £180,000. My last competitor, Jane, might run a successful logistics business, but it's her daughter, Kerry, who's in charge of the decor at home.
She rules me with a rod of iron, really. I'm not allowed to make decisions when I'm actually at home. We go in the shop and I go, oh, that's lovely, it's pink. And she goes, you're not having that.
No, you're not allowed that.
She slipped a bit past you, though, I see. The open-plan kitchen and living area of this townhouse are on the middle of the 3 stories. The top 2 floors are well presented, but the entire ground floor is long forgotten.
I'm running my own business and I've got a really good social life. I'm not always here that much. It's just got left, really.
You use it as a storage room, don't
Yeah,
you,
it just
really?
gets gets all the rubbish thrown in there.
Yeah.
Jane's dysfunctional townhouse might be neat and tidy upstairs, but the entrance hall is unwelcoming and the third bedroom is a dumping ground. It's the cheapest of the three houses, though, at £165,000. So that's my sellers. Now it's time for them to take a sneaky peek at each other's homes, all in the name of getting tips for their own. First up, it's Jackie's place.
Jackie is not a lover of decorating, and it really shows. This house has enormous potential, but the dated decor and the unmodernised kitchen really lets it down, and it will put potential buyers off.
First to have a look are Jane and Kerry.
It's all a bit cream.
Needs a bit of modernising, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a bit difficult to try and squeeze a large dining table in there, so you're best to use the whole thing as a living room, really.
Yeah.
It needs a bit of modernisation. I think people would want to change the units.
It's too dark, I think, for me.
The decor is nice, very nice. I like natural wood.
Yeah, I like natural wood. That's what we've got at home, yeah.
You might like it. Sadly, not many other people do. Upstairs, there are 3 bedrooms, including a small guest room.
I think you need to make it look a bit more lived in.
Yeah.
Which is exactly like mine.
You got it.
Reckon that's smaller than ours, Ange?
A lot smaller than our office.
I mean, it is a bedroom. You can get a bed in here.
You could get a bed in yours too, Nick.
I'd have new bed covers, definitely. 2 stand-up pillars and a headboard.
It's a bit plain and boring.
Yeah.
They need to do something to make it look bigger.
They certainly need to do something, and this house is the most expensive of the 3 at 190 grand.
Is it?
I think I probably want a bit more for my money for one.
And me. It just feels quite small for 190.
Yeah.
We've got a lot more house than this. When I look at this, I get so disheartened about my house not selling.
Chin up, I can sort that. And it's Nick and Angela's we're at next.
Angela and Nick have a very unusual home with space in abundance, but some of the areas are filled with big, dark pieces of furniture, which makes them feel very small and cramped.
Though it does have a welcoming hallway, certainly compared to Jane and Kerry's.
My hallway hasn't got anything in it. This does look like more lived in and more used.
In the dining room,
It is a little bit cramped in here.
But it's what's in here, isn't it?
Yeah.
'Cause that's quite a big unit.
When you come in the door, you might think this is going to be a house that needs a bit of work doing because the furniture is that style. It kind of gives you that impression.
This is lovely. Lovely and just
Get some ideas.
colours.
yes, think about colours to replace your own beige.
In Mum's bedroom, there's nothing to draw your eye to any particular place, whereas in here, you've got lots of things to look at.
Upstairs, there are 3 bedrooms, though you wouldn't necessarily know it.
Just like the room downstairs in mine, I've used it as for an alternative use. Does that mean your buyer's going to come in and go, well, it's not 3 bedrooms, is it really?
How would you get a bed in here?
I think you'd use this as
A study.
study.
Because
Like
I
they
struggle
have.
too much to make a bedroom out of this.
With cogs whirring all over the place, it's time to reveal this house's asking price, just short of £180,000.
Really? Wow.
That's good.
I definitely would have thought this was more than the other one.
Yeah.
I'm not that shocked, to be honest,
I
because it is a
suppose so.
lovely house.
So, mixed thoughts on the price. On to the final snoop at Jane's house.
This modern townhouse should appeal to so many potential buyers, but the downstairs has been totally forgotten and is bare and unwelcoming. However, the other sellers should take note of the modern design and the very well-presented bedrooms upstairs.
The first impression people get as they walk into your house is from your hallway.
It's just a bit featureless.
Could do with brightening up a little bit.
All I can see at the moment is a back door and there's a pig on the floor.
Well, to the left of the pig is the 3rd bedroom.
Is this meant to be a bedroom or...
I don't know, actually.
I don't know what sort of room it's meant to be.
Ah, is this the 3rd bedroom, maybe?
It just looks like a storage room.
Yeah.
Upstairs, it's a completely different story.
But if it looked like this downstairs, I think it'd make a massive difference.
This is just nice and light, isn't it, and modern?
Yeah.
Wishing yours was a bit more like this one, Jackie?
They've put the table against the wall, which makes the room bigger, where mine is right in the middle of the room, and I've got a big unit.
Decorated nicely, like still neutral and homely and warm like you like it, but it's got like little splashes of colour, like the yellow curtains. You need some sort of brightness in it. Your sofa blends into your walls. So if you were to wear cream as well, you'd just look all in one.
Disappear.
Upstairs, the second bedroom, dressed as, well, a second bedroom, has got Nick thinking.
If someone's buying a house and it's advertised as a 3-bedroom house, I think they really need to see it as a bedroom.
My third bedroom is an office. It was a bedroom, but Nick needed an office for your job.
She's got a point, Nick. Across the hall...
Oh, this is a nice size.
I knew you were going to say that. But the difference is they've got a really nice bed. The headboard comes up, whereas yours is just the bed.
Yeah, I know. I need something there.
Yeah.
Seems they like it, and this is the cheapest of the 3 houses at £165,000.
Really? Oh.
Gosh, that's a shock.
I think our property is a lot of house for the money because we've got a lot more space.
Snoop's done, and the rivals have picked up lots of ideas looking round each other's houses. I'm in Redditch, just outside Birmingham, with my buyer, interior designer Joe, who's looking for the perfect place to put his own stamp on.
Well, I'd like to be able to decorate a house myself and put a lot of work into it myself. That's something I really look forward to.
All 3 sellers have had a sneaky peek round each other's houses in the hopes that they'll pick up some tips on how to improve their own.
There's, I think, not a huge amount, but tweaks that I could actually show more of the house off than I'm doing. Definitely the ground floor.
Yeah.
The only thing that I probably would do is change Nick's office into a bedroom.
Maybe having this £1,000 to spend, we can make the differences that will make the difference and it will sell.
But only if you do the right things about the dated decor.
Have you ever said to your mum about decorating in here, or have you always avoided it?
I've avoided it for 2 reasons. One, Mum hasn't decorated before, and 2, I didn't want to be roped into doing it.
Getting the paintbrush out. Well, let's start with this area, because it is the first room that you see. It's a good job I'm not wearing a beige dress, so I'd be sort of a floating head on the wall. Keep the sofa, change the wall colour.
Yeah.
I think what would work really well is a very soft grey on the walls, but then you used accents of heather and moss greens. The interesting thing about this space is it's something and nothing. All of that furniture that is there, store it somewhere and put a new table and chairs in there. So that's specifically a dining space. It's a paint job and it's a rejig of some furniture and storing some of the bigger pieces. The bulk of your money needs to be spent in the kitchen. Kitchens can quite often be the one thing that will turn people off a property if they're not modern and sleek and glossy.
I don't think the dark wood does it any justice.
No.
And the dark tiles. No. And the lack of colour on the walls.
Yes. One of the things that I think would make this room feel much brighter, lighter and more modern is to lose the Spanish tapas bar archway. And what you could do is just square it out. I think you'd be looking at around about £300 to £350 to do that.
Definitely. I've never liked that, really.
Excellent, so that can go. And then your units.
I mean, they are dark. I can see what Sarah means.
But you would be absolutely amazed at how easy and quick these are to transform if you paint them.
Right.
Go for a sort of natural colour. It would just really lighten the whole space up, particularly if you went for a lighter tile as well.
Yeah, that'd be really nice.
It just sounds a lot of work.
We need a bigger army.
How many are in your army at the moment? It's just 2 of you, isn't it?
1.
Don't think you can get out of it that easily, Sarah, especially when there's plenty more that needs doing. At the moment, this doesn't feel like a master bedroom. This just feels like the biggest of 3 bedrooms. Let's address the colour first. How long has it been fluorescent?
Ever since I've been here, it was like this.
No wonder you get the dates.
You've lived here all these
these years and you've hated it ever since you've moved in. It would take a day to paint this and you've never done it.
No, I know.
What I would like to see here again is to just soften it, like a chalky lavender.
I like lilacs. That sounds nice.
One thing I think the bed is lacking is a headboard.
Yes, I know.
Get a cheap headboard and recover it. That's
I know, it would
really
make a
easy.
difference, yeah.
Daunted? Up for the challenge?
Petrified.
I'm really excited. I can't wait to get stuck in.
I think you'll transform it. I think it's going to take a lot of work, but I think you will make an enormous difference. This house is so incredibly frustrating. It's got the most enormous potential, but at the moment it feels very tired, bland, and rather dated. They need to bring it into the 21st century. Now, Sarah seems really up for the challenge. Jackie, however, seems utterly petrified.
So I think it will look really nice. It's just, where do you start?
That's exactly it. All these suggestions are spot on, really. We can see ourselves following all of them. But it is just the amount of work that it is going to involve.
You can start in the living room. And while Sarah gets the room ready to paint, she's drafted in boyfriend Ryan and his mate Darren to reshape the dated Spanish archway. That does not look safe, guys. Some safety goggles and gloves wouldn't go amiss.
These gaps that you can see here, we're going to fill them up with a bit of filler, and then Darren is going to mix up a bit of plaster and we'll skim over it.
As it's a stud wall, this is a fairly simple DIY task, and doing it themselves will save a chunk of cash. But there's always a price to pay.
It's a good job you're not going to be here when Mum gets home from work. Should we just put it that way?
Oh no, well, we've got someone to clean up for us.
What, me? Muggins? Yeah, that's a good job.
Gotta be worth it though, eh, Sarah? And when Jackie returns...
The arch.
Oh my God! That's incredible. What a difference.
Next stop is Angela and Nick's, and I fear the Snoops still haven't made them realise the dark furniture has to go.
So talk to me about the love of wood. Where has it come from?
I like natural wood.
Yeah, I like the quality and the feel of it.
Now, this piece of furniture in a large room would make the room feel smaller, but in a room of this size, it makes it feel a bit like we're in sort of Alice in Wonderland land. I think for the sake of selling your property, you need to clear this room out a bit and just use it as a dining room. One of the colours that works really well with dark wood are blues.
Not to go for creams.
No.
Because why I did cream through here, I open all up. That's why the curtains match.
Well, what you could do is change the two curtains so it blends in. How handy are you at the old wallpapering malarkey?
You won't be able to do it.
I don't think I can do wallpaper.
Who are we going to get to do that then?
My brother-in-law's got a building firm.
What I would suggest is wallpapering below the dado rail and then picking up that colour and painting the rest of the room in a lighter shade. I think you'll transform this space. Shall we get upstairs?
Poorly defining spaces is a classic seller's error. So next, I want to get Angela and Nick to take another look at their third bedroom.
When some of the other sellers came into this room, they couldn't work out where they would put a bed.
They didn't look at the desk, that's 5 foot.
No, but they
and
don't.
the bed's only 6 foot, and we had boxes at the end and everything. They just couldn't see.
In order to enable buyers to see this as a bedroom, sounds obvious, put a bed in it.
I thought you might say that.
Did you? When we came up the stairs, you thinking, please don't go into my room. Please don't go into my room. Well, I love the trains. Don't take that down because I think it's great. It's like, whew. Wallpaper this entire wall, including this part, because if you've got an unusual feature like that, don't try and hide it, utilise it. Does it strike fear of terror? Does it make you terrified or?
I'm OK with it, and if this was made to look like a bedroom and it gets us a sale, that's what's important.
For me, they need to create a third bedroom. That study just isn't happening at the moment. And the trouble is some of these rooms are dominated by large pieces of furniture, which makes them feel very small and cramped. They need to do a major clear out to allow buyers to see the potential in this house.
I know deep down that big unit's got to go out there to show it as a dining room.
For the purpose of selling the house, I think it's worthwhile.
It might be a pain, but it's definitely necessary. And before it can go, there's some packing up to do.
That's going in the kitchen for later, OK?
Got your priorities straight, I see, Nick. And Angela's brother-in-law, builder Dave, is on hand to help move the dark, bulky furniture.
We don't want any damage. We're going to take it careful.
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
Whoa, careful, careful. Watch the chandelier.
Dave's helped draft in decorators to paint and wallpaper the dining room and the upstairs bedroom for a total cost of £300. And with the average buyer rating room size as the second most important thing, it could be worth every penny. Finally, I'm at Jane's, where it's all about that neglected ground floor. Unfortunately, her daughter Kerry can't be here today.
So, Jane, I've lost my right-hand woman. Kerry, your daughter, is poorly today.
Yeah, she is.
So I was wanting her to say, now, Mum, you've got to make sure you do this. Are you going to be on board with these suggestions?
Oh, definitely, yeah, because she'll sort me out for days.
Otherwise, you'll be in big trouble. I think it's safe to say the major thing that you learnt by looking at your competitors' houses is that you're not utilising all the space that you've got in this wonderful townhouse.
Yeah, seeing things there did really make me think that I need to do some work.
It feels like a sort of holiday apartment.
Yeah.
With the tiled floors and the sort of neutral decor.
Yeah,
it just
doesn't feel like a home.
When you walk into the hallway, you've got to get people's attention.
Yeah.
And you've got to get them going, wow. I've come up with some ideas that I think will help entice people in. Now, you're not afraid of colour in the rest of the house.
Yeah.
Mainly pink, I have to say. I think that this room is crying out for some wallpaper, and I've got some samples here. I think a geometric pattern would work here. It's stylish, it would create a real talking point. Or you could go down this route, which is much softer.
Actually, I actually really like that one.
Excellent. I was hoping you were going to
Yeah,
say.
Kerry would choose very similar.
And another fantastic way of making a house feel like a home is by adding some personal bits.
Yeah.
You could use one of these, which is a picture shelf.
Oh, right.
Really, really easy to put up. If you popped that on there like that,
Yeah.
you get me a couple of those
Yeah,
photographs. It's all about creating a focal point and interest. And straight away,
Yeah.
can you see the impact?
Completely different.
If Jane can improve first impressions in the hallway, buyers will want to look further. But the next room they'll come to is this.
You clearly don't use this, do you?
No, and hasn't been used in a few years.
When I first came into the house, it feels like a two-bed with a junk room.
This is the reason I bought the house. My son was still at home, and there's this room and then there's the shower room next to it.
For me, the most frustrating thing about this room is that you can't actually get to the garden. So turn that window into a door.
Right.
Take it out, patio doors, going out. It would make a massive difference.
That would be quite a big job to do.
And for anyone coming in, they'd look at this and think, oh, how lovely. I could put my mum down here when she comes to stay and she could sit out there and have her coffee. It's all about creating the vision.
Yeah, and that would make it quite unique, wouldn't it, and a feature.
If you went down the route of putting a door in there, it's probably going to take up a lot of your money. I think it's worth doing the sums and seeing whether it's affordable. If it's not, then you need to make the most of the rest of the room.
Right.
You invest in a daybed, get all of this out. I'm assuming you've got space in your garage.
I've actually got a large warehouse at work.
That large warehouse you've got at work, all of this out, including this. Then go for a very soft, neutral colour in here.
Okay.
Are you up for the challenge?
Yeah.
Clear the decks. A door there, a bed here. Make it look warm and inviting and a tranquil space.
This ground floor really lets it down. It just feels forgotten, as if no one's bothered with it, and that's exactly what's happened. On the positive side, Jane seems very up for all the suggestions that I've made, and I'm banking on Kerry to make sure her mum carries them all out.
We'll need to talk about the patio doors. I think Kerry will agree with me that it would make a real feature of that room, and with a daybed in there, it looked fantastic. But we'll have to see about the time and whether we can actually get the patio doors done.
And first on the to-do list is the hallway. Well, for someone else to do.
We are very tight on time. My son is helping with the wallpapering.
The wallpaper might be going up, but it's not the geometric design I suggested.
I think it'll look really smart. Better than the dingy room that I have.
In Redditch, near Birmingham, my 3 homeowners are all working hard to make their homes more saleable after snooping around each other's houses. For Jackie and Sarah, it's all about banishing the bland.
Oh, my God.
Come on, ladies, that paint won't choose itself.
I like this colour, but that's not very grey, is it?
I'm wondering whether we go for that grey hints and pebble shore on the bottom.
I don't want it to look like a prison cell.
I'm decorating, don't worry, I won't let it look like a prison cell.
Grey might not sound like the warmest of colours, but in fact it is great for injecting subtle character while keeping an overall neutral tone. And back home, Sarah's roped in brother Adam.
Mum's at work, so Adam's been dragged in kicking and screaming to help me out.
In fact, she'll take all the help she can get, including from 2-year-old daughter Isabel.
I'm hoping it's going to look warm and not prison cell-like.
In the kitchen, they've spent almost £400 on tiles and a pro to put them up.
So far, it's going all right, but I must admit, last night, I was awake for an hour or so, worrying about whether the tiles are going to come off nice and easily.
Well, there's a man who takes his job to heart, but it seems he was right to worry.
It's the second time that it's been tiled, and we've knocked it off, and we got the board broken, so I'm going to go away, get a bit of board, stick another bit on there and plaster it.
This means a hole in Jackie's budget as well as her wall. At Angela and Nick's, with the dark furniture cleared out, the dining room is already feeling much brighter, especially since decorator Paul has started the wallpapering.
I really like it.
Yeah, it's a nice shade, isn't it?
Yeah, very nice. Yeah, I want to do the lounge in it now.
I usually say that.
Steady, Angela, you've got enough on your plate.
I am stressed about the time frame because of the amount of packing we had to do.
There is an upside, though, as the reshuffle unearths some treasures.
I came across the candlestick and said, oh, great, I can use that now. So I'm using it in the dining room.
Keep looking, Angela. At Jane's house, it's all about the forgotten ground floor. But while the hallway is starting to look more loved, after a few days away, she's running out of time to do everything I suggested.
I've decided not to do the patio doors. I think it's a really good idea. But unfortunately, because I've been away for 2 days, I didn't feel it was really fair to leave that for someone else to do while I was away. But I think everything else we're going to do.
You're breaking my heart, Jane. Access to the garden could make all the difference here, but at least she's clearing the junk.
So to see it go from what it is now to a bedroom, so that it will show the house off properly as a 3-bedroom, I'm really excited to see it. It's good to get started.
And she can finally send it where it belongs, to a waiting warehouse owned by her own logistics company. And with the room clear, brother Roger is on hand with some lessons in wallpapering.
Don't unroll it, just pull it to me. Just pull it to you.
Are you trying to make me look like some sort of idiot? And you're now going to use my best carving knife to cut the paper?
I am, yes. I think you'll be pleased with it.
Good.
You get the bit of furniture in and get it cleaned up.
Crack on then.
OK. Will do.
That's it, Jane, crack the whip. Back at Jackie's, she's got son Adam working hard painting the lounge.
I think I'm doing a good job. Whether Sarah thinks I am or not is a different story, but let's see how it goes at the end, see if I get a reward for it.
The new look should be reward enough, Adam. And in the kitchen, Tyler Marco has repaired the hole in the wall and nearly finished the tiling, and all in just 48 hours.
I think the kitchen's looking fantastic. I love those tiles. Such a big job in such a short time period. It's brilliant.
I know a way to get even more done, Jackie. It's time for you to finally pick up a paintbrush and face your own room.
Sure it can't be that hard. You just roller it, don't you?
I think you're facing the wrong way.
We'll go.
That's better.
I think that looks really good. I'm quite pleased with that.
Just keep going, Jackie. At Angela and Nick's, the dark dining room has given way to the bright new wallpaper. And upstairs, Nick is steeling himself to clear the 3rd bedroom.
Every man likes his little den, and I suppose this is mine.
With the tracks clear, it's time to make a feature of the feature wall.
This job's going to be difficult because the wall has got a curve, and it's going to mean that it's almost impossible to get the paper vertical.
Almost impossible, but Paul finds a way.
There was a bit of a gap here on the right-hand side, which we're going to have some sort of split in the paper, probably all the way across this line here.
And adding a small strip of border trim on top will cover any gap in the join.
I really like the wallpaper. I think it looks fantastic and Paul's done a brilliant job.
At Kerry and Jane's, with plenty of colour going into the neglected ground floor, they're looking for some finishing touches.
We're trying to find cushions to scatter across the daybed.
But Kerry's keeping Mum tightly leashed.
No, you're going to have purple, brown, green and cream.
I'm glad you're on my side, Kerry.
That'll be scattered across the daybed exactly like that. The paper will be there. All them?
Yeah.
And now for something to cover those bare bulbs in the hallway.
What do you think about this bird cage?
Love it. The bird cages are all in.
Rewind.
Love it.
Something I chose.
There's only one.
Oh, no!
Keep looking, ladies. At Angela and Nick's, work is almost complete and they've reinstated that all-important third bedroom.
This room's actually bigger than I thought it was. Now that there's a bed back in here and not much else, doesn't need to be much else, it's quite a spacious room.
That's the idea. The dining room was dark and cramped. By clearing it out and adding some interest in the wallpaper, they've made the room feel much bigger.
I think it's fair to say for both of you, the biggest thing was where to put everything.
That's right.
Yeah, it was hard work. I've never seen so much stuff, and especially with the unit that was in here, that filled like a dozen boxes.
What you've done is, I feel, increase this property saleability tenfold. And when you think that this is going to be one of the first rooms that any buyer sees, what a great start to the rest of the house.
Yes, it is.
I agree.
Wonderful. I think you've done a brilliant job. Could we have a little look upstairs at what was your office?
Upstairs, Nick's old office was also full of furniture. Now it is clearly a third bedroom with a playful vintage theme, all for a spend of £500.
But I think what you've done by creating a third bedroom is help families see this as a usable family home now.
I've always wanted it back as a bedroom.
Who was in charge of the wallpaper? You. Well done, you.
Well, we were looking for trains and then aeroplanes.
Trains, planes and automobiles.
You've been through them all, and then you found the automobile.
And then we picked this one up and they've gone, oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice. It's worth all the effort. And it still retains a touch of...
You.
me, my hobbies and my interests.
Yeah.
I like that.
It now, for me, works. And I think it's increased the saleability and marketability of it as well. You need to get your agent back to take some new pictures.
Certainly,
At Jackie's house, the master bedroom is getting a second coat of a calming lavender colour. But she's had enough of painting already and passed the roller to fiancé Mike.
Mike came in and he's doing a really nice job. I might let him carry on. He's doing that OK.
I know your game, Jackie. Poor Mike. And downstairs, she's got friends Liz and Joy to do even more of the painting to help modernise the kitchen cupboard doors.
Are you happy with that, Jackie, my dear?
Well, yeah, that's OK.
It's important to use a specialist non-blocking paint so the doors don't stick to the carcasses, even when they're dry. Not wanting to get her hands dirty, Jackie turns her attention to the finishing touches.
You don't want to move now, do you?
No, I'm staying now. Put too much work into it to move.
The living room was beige and forgettable. The grey now makes the room feel warmer, and adding an eating area close to the kitchen makes the space more practical too. Total cost just over £300.
When you walk in now, it's a big open space and it looks put together and it looks like you've thought about it.
Yeah.
For me, you've increased the saleability of this house dramatically.
A family can see that there is space for you to eat now.
Yeah.
As a family, rather than sitting with trays on your lap.
The table was a complete find, wasn't it?
It was.
Charity shop?
Charity
How
shop.
much?
£75
For the whole lot. Have you enjoyed the process or are you really glad it's over?
Through the whole week, out of, technically, you probably class 4 rooms with living room, diner. She's painted one wall, one coat on one wall.
But it's painted well.
And I like all the pops of the teal blue that you've added in as well.
It's lovely to see the end result. It's
Yeah.
been absolutely exhausting.
Yeah.
The biggest transformation in this house is the kitchen, which really needed replacing. But to update it for selling, they've squared off the arch, retiled the walls and made the units more modern with a lick of paint. It's a stopgap solution, and it costs less than £500.
I love the units. I think the units look fantastic.
Still a little bit rustic, I think.
Kitchens help to sell houses. And if you've got one that's dated and feels quite old-fashioned, it can be a real turn-off for a lot of buyers. And the whole room just by painting it a different colour and tying in all the different accessories, completely transformed it. A lick of paint on the cupboards have brought them bang up to date.
Yes. I love the tiles. I think the
tiles are really good.
They're lovely.
Now, this was interesting, wasn't it? Because it was your poor partner that came round that you persuaded to do. What happened?
I got him to come round to give me advice on what paint to use for the cupboards. And I mentioned this to him and he said, oh, I'll just do it. So he just did it with his friend. So his friend got roped in as well.
Upstairs, Jackie's bedroom has now been dressed to sell. With the addition of a second-hand headboard, even the bed looks new. And painting the walls, replacing the curtains and adding fresh accessories has given it much more impact.
I left you last week as a lady that didn't like colour. You've now gone for blue in your kitchen.
I know.
And that lavender colour in the bedroom.
It now looks like a master bedroom.
It feels glamorous, it feels luxurious, it feels like you could just sink into that bed. I think you've done a marvellous job, I really do. And I think for any agent trying to sell this house now, it's going to be a walk in the park.
At Jane's house, they've spruced up the garden with a new patio set. And now they can add the soft furnishings to the daybed in the downstairs bedroom. And Jane's kept the picture shelves I suggested for the hallway in here instead.
I'll be interested to see what Amanda thinks, because she said put them in the hallway, but I didn't like them on the patterned paper in the hallway.
You didn't want to ruin the paper, did you?
No, I think it looks so good.
Yeah.
Didn't want to put it on there.
The whole of Jane's downstairs felt unloved and empty. Now the newly decorated hallway feels lived in. But I would have liked to have seen Jackie go further with some more interest on the main wall and a carpet on the floor.
Now, no picture shelves or anything on that wall.
I thought the paper just said so much.
Yeah.
That we didn't do that.
No,
So.
I would have liked to have seen something there, whether it was a big mirror to bust. But, you know, it's something to think about. I think there has been a dramatic transformation in the last 7 days.
Oh, I love it. It looks so much better, doesn't it?
Yeah, and having things like the lampshade, all these little finishing touches.
Yeah, we really liked the lampshades.
Yeah. What you've done is created a real impact. It's a warm, welcoming hallway. And rightly so, because hallways are the first rooms that any buyer will see when they walk in the front door.
In the bedroom, I'm disappointed Jackie didn't go with my suggestion of opening up to the garden, but at least she's cleared the junk and is showing the space off as a bedroom.
I think you've done a brilliant job, don't get me wrong, but I think by putting a door in there, what it would have done is it would have flooded this room with light. It would have made it feel much more open, bigger.
I think it would have absolutely transformed the room.
Yeah, that's my one kind of like, and it would have given access onto the garden, because I see you've put a table and chairs on, which is great.
Yeah.
You've got a townhouse, but it never felt like a townhouse. It felt like a normal house up there in a sort of forgotten floor.
Yeah.
And now you've just opened up the possibilities.
This is a room that you'd be kind of proud to show to people now.
Absolutely. And anyone coming through the door now will be able to look at these rooms and think, that's amazing. So well done.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm in Redditch near Birmingham, where my 3 sellers have been working hard in the hopes they'll get an offer from buyer Joe. Jackie and Sarah have opened up downstairs to make it feel more modern, and they've created calm in the bedroom with a fresh new colour scheme.
I'm very happy with the results.
Yeah,
I think it
made a
looks
massive
lovely.
difference.
Angela and Nick have cleared out all the dark furniture and reinstated that all-important 3rd bedroom.
I'm relieved that we're over the finishing line just about. It's been a lot of work, but I love the dining room. It does look lovely and fresh.
And Jane has revived her forgotten ground floor by creating a warm welcome in her hallway and an asset for any buyer, a spare bedroom that overlooks the garden.
We're really happy with it. Room looks great.
Much better. It looks like it's lived in.
I might move down here myself.
I know.
This is the first house I'm showing buyer Joe. Let's see if Jane's revamped hallway will give a good first impression.
So, here's your entrance hall. Have you been inside modern townhouses?
I did a project inside quite a modern townhouse
Right.
in Birmingham. It was a little bigger than this, and I really like that property.
This, for me, is a manageable first property. You put your own stamp on it, and then you move up and you move on. And then down here, there's the garage, there's a shower room, and there's a 3rd bedroom stroke office. And I know that you're fairly keen on working from home, aren't you?
Yeah, I think working from home is something that I would like to look at in the future.
All right, let's go and have a look at the creative room.
Let's do that.
The cleared out junk room is now clearly a 3rd bedroom.
Peek through there and you can see the the garden size. Is that manageable for two people that don't like gardening?
I think so, and it's also a nice little sun trap.
There are several things that I think you could do to this to make it much more interesting. Behind us here is the garage. One thought is that you take this wall down and you split the garage in half, so you go back a good, I would say, 2 or 3 metres that way.
Yeah, it's got potential to be, hasn't it?
Maybe think about bifold doors going out onto the garden, so it would create so much more space.
Yeah, it would.
Glad I've got Joe thinking. The other 2 bedrooms are on the top floor, with the open-plan kitchen living area on the middle storey.
Well, the kitchen's a nice size. There's not much scope for wholesale changes like we were talking about downstairs.
No.
It doesn't look like it's in need of any, to be honest.
No, it's
just,
not.
It is what it is.
But what it is, it's a proper grown-up house. You know, it's a... What's that wrinkled nose for? Are you ready for a proper grown-up house?
I'm not ready to grow up.
So this is on the market at 165.
It's good compared to what you would pay for in Birmingham.
Yeah.
Definitely. I like what I see so far about
Good,
this.
good. I think this is a great house. I think it's a really good option. So come on, Peter Pan, let's go and look at the others.
Next, I think there's lots to catch Joe's eye at Angela and Nick's chalet-style home, the biggest of all 3 properties.
As you can see from the street, they are quite distinctive
Yes.
houses.
Swiss. Got a certain character.
I quite like its quirkiness. I think it's an interesting option.
Inside, with a much more open feel in the dining room, a buyer can now appreciate how much space there is in this house.
Style-wise, it's not to my liking. I think
Right.
it would need a lot of work in that department.
You'd need to get this heightened.
Well, I need to get every single one.
Yeah.
Space-wise, I actually quite like this little dining room here. It's kind of nice.
Let's have a look at one of the rooms upstairs,
Okay.
yeah? Watch your head, duck.
Upstairs, you can now see the house has 3 usable bedrooms.
And this is the 3rd bedroom, stroke office.
Yeah. Obviously, the decor is going to need to change.
You're not a fan of vintage cars?
No, I don't think head height would be an issue, though,
No,
obviously.
you're all right in this room. Look,
Yeah,
you could even bounce around on a trampoline and you wouldn't hit your ceiling.
Maybe.
It's detached, it's 3 bedrooms. There's a lot of space here. What do you think it's on the market at?
I would say 220.
Oh, this is 179,995.
That is surprising.
Maybe look at one more. So you've got all 3 to compare.
Yes.
Yeah,
that would
let's
be
go and
best.
look at the last one.
Okay.
Come on.
I'm getting the sense he's not that keen here. Now to show Joe Jackie's detached family home.
I like the fact it's detached. It means you can make a lot of noise in there, I guess. And very grown up. Perhaps a little too grown up, but I haven't seen the inside yet.
All right, well, let's get inside and see whether it's as grown up inside as it is on the outside.
Okay.
Downstairs, I think Joe should appreciate the flow throughout the bright open living area.
So from the outside, you said you felt it was quite grown up.
Yeah.
Now we're inside, what are you thinking?
Even more so.
Oh, really?
I think so, yeah. It just feels like a family house, and I think it's probably me 10 years from now.
I think you could do a lot with it. Would you change the layout at all?
It would be a house extension I'd be looking at there. We could have a great big kitchen that way.
The revamped kitchen might not be high-tech, but at least it makes the house more saleable.
Here we are. What do you think?
It's a little small. So for that reason, what we were talking about earlier about pushing this wall back, I think that would be something worth looking at, although that is a big change. It's first-time buyers.
Yeah.
It's unlikely that we've got the finances to completely change the face of the house.
Would you like to have a little look upstairs as well?
Cool.
So
Okay.
we're going to have a look at the master bedroom,
Yeah.
yeah?
One last try upstairs, where the biggest of the 3 rooms is Jackie's now warm-looking master bedroom.
It's a nice size,
Yeah.
but there doesn't seem to be a lot of storage in here.
No. Let's talk about the price. So this property is on the market at offers over £190,000.
Okay. I mean, for 109,000, it would have to be my perfect house, and it's just not, unfortunately.
It's not, is it? That's okay. You win some, you lose some.
Yeah.
Shall we disappear then and have a little
Yes.
think about it,
Okay,
or
then.
go through everything after you?
So it's between Jane and Kerry's townhouse and Nick and Angela's chalet bungalow.
Now, I thought the old chalet-style house would get the creative interior designer juices flowing.
It didn't lend itself to the massive changes of the townhouse that we could have made.
Yeah. Which leaves us with the townhouse.
Yeah, it was a really nice little property,
What are you going to do with that? Because is that your favourite one out of the 3?
definitely. What I'd like to do is send the photographs to Sarah and see what her initial thoughts are on it.
Yeah.
And then maybe arrange a second viewing.
Okay.
It's been a great day in the fact that it has opened my eyes to what's out there. But like you say, it's time to go back to the drawing board, revise, and who knows.
Good luck with it. I'm sure the perfect house is out there somewhere.
Thank you.
So Jane and Kerry might be getting a second look.
That's good.
That is good. That's very good. We knew we were winners.
I hated the townhouse. I thought that was the worst house out of 3.
Why?
Disappointing.
Does he not know how much work we've put into this?
It's been worth it to see how it looks now. It looks so much better, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Just hopefully someone will come round and like it and want to buy it.
And someone did, because just a couple of weeks later, Jackie sold.
I didn't expect it to be sold so quickly. In fact, I had 2 interested parties. I sold it just over the asking price, which is fantastic, so really pleased.